पीपीटी दिखने लगी ना? 100 nanoseconds. Suppose you have to store the cost per bit is suppose 100 rupees. Here we have 1 rupees, 1 paise. Okay. Suppose here we store 10 bytes, here 100 bytes, and here 1000 bytes. So total we are storing 111 this much of information, and total cost to store, this is the cost per bit, suppose 10, 100, 1000, 100, and it is 10. So almost, if you see, the cost will be this. So cost per bit, storage cost per bit is approaching to this, almost. Okay. Now we have to devise the method so that we can get the access speed of this. If you can increase the capacity of cheapest memory system, means suppose your in normal case your cache capacity is 256 MB in your laptop. You have main memory, suppose 8 GB, and your secondary memory is 1 TB. So see, suppose its cost, if you add this 8, it is 8.25 GB plus 1 TB will be, it is about 8.25. You may say the storage cost is only due to this hard disk. So this memory system will become cheaper. And cost per bit is cheaper. So we keep the cheap higher volume to the cheaper memory system. And now we have to devise a method so that, but it is very slow. So what we do, when suppose this is L1, this is L2, this is L3. Means at level 1 you have simple cache, L2 cache, then you have your main memory, and then you have secondary memory, your hard disk. So we try to get the access speed of this because it is fastest. If you see the technology, we will discuss about the technology behind this. The 256 is cache, and for cache we use semiconductor, and to it is also called static RAM. And to store 1 bit of information, we need 6 transistors. 6 transistor. Perhaps you know about the transistor. Okay, electronic circuit. It is like this. This is the symbol: base, collector, and emitter. So we use 6 transistors in this. So certainly the cost will increase. In for design this, your L2 is means RAM, or it is called dynamic RAM. You must have used DDR 1, 2. Nowadays DDR4 is going to be used. Okay, so it is dynamic RAM, and to store 1 bit of information, we need 1 capacitor and 1 resistor. Okay, and we can create capacitor and resistor using semiconductor. So here the cost will obviously means here you have 6 component, here you have 2 component. So 1/3. So cost is certainly reduced. So here you may say about the why we use this 256 megabyte of the RAM. Why we don't use this? Because both are semiconductor memory, but there is difference in the access speed. This is dynamic RAM, and it needs refreshing. That we will discuss when we will discuss about the technology. Okay, and the access speed of this is almost comparable to the processing speed. So, and now we have the technique through which we try to keep all the references generated by the processor should be available in the cache memory. Here you have seen 3 labels. Let's see. Three level: L1, L2, L3. Here you have cache. Here you have your DDR, and here you have hard disk. Okay, you just keep this hierarchy in your mind and see this relation. The all parameter Ti minus 1 is less than Ti. This is T is the access time. Storage capacity of lower level is less than higher level. It is clear to you. Then cost per bit is higher than the higher level. Cost per bit of cost per bit of this higher level, lower level is lower level is costlier than the storage. In term of storage, lower level, you have seen storage cost per bit at hard disk is very low as compared to the DDR. Again, if you consider the cache memory and DDR, again same relation holds. This relation holds. Bandwidth of lower level is higher than the upper level, and here unit of transfer is less. Unit of transfer means you are transferring information in form of byte, word, or chunk of word. Okay, that is the unit of transfer. So this is the property of that we have. Okay, wait. We'll use whiteboard. SDD. Time. Here you have access time is less. Access time of L1 is less than L2, and next parameter is storage cost. Storage cost, it is less. It is also less. Then you have cost per storage capacity. This is capacity. Okay, it has less capacity than this, and it has less capacity than this. Cost higher, bandwidth means we have higher bandwidth to lower level, so we have this unit of transfer, it is less. So this is the goal of designing of means this is your system, and how we achieve this by designing the memory hierarchy. For that, we will consider some properties. First of the memory hierarchy. First is intrusion property. Intrusion property means, you just see, the information hold at L2 is the subset of information hold at L3. Similarly, the information hold at L1 is the subset of, so means all the information in this at level L1 will be available in L2. Similarly, all the information of in L2 will be in, just you may consider the simple execution of a program. Suppose you want to execute a program, basic, you just consider L2 and L3. and you want to execute a program. So basically your program resides on the hard disk, and to execute this program, first you have to load this program into main memory. So entire program is get transferred into main memory. So in main memory you have the program, and same copy is available in hard disk. So the content of L2 is subset of L3. Similarly, some portion and that program is now going to be executed. So active portion of the program will always available in cache memory to achieve the higher access time. So for that, you may say that the content of cache is the subset of main memory. Okay, this property is called inclusion property. Next, coherence. If you are considering the inclusion, then there must be coherence. Just again come back. These are the property of memory hierarchy. Coherence means, as you know, you are executing a program, some part of the program is, some portion of the program is residing in the cache memory. Actually, what happens, it is like this, how it is being used. You have a processor. This is processor. You have cache memory, primary memory, and here you have secondary memory. When you try to execute this program, this is transferred to main memory, and the processor will always generate, means if you see the execution of program, processor always generates address of the main memory, always. And you also know that the access speed of main memory is much slower. So after generation of the address of main memory, processor has to wait for memory completion of the memory fetch. And when the memory fetch will complete, the data will appear in memory buffer register, and then it can use the data. So here if you see from processor side, processor after putting the address of the memory, processor enters into the wait cycle as per its nature to wait the availability of data in memory data register. And due to the slower speed of the main memory, it has to wait several cycles. So what we can do, we introduce a faster memory and try to keep that address information in this faster memory called cache. Processor has, now see what happened. Processor has generated the address of the information that is to be accessed from the main memory, and we are supplying the address information from the cache. And when the data will appear in the memory buffer register of the processor, the wait cycle, processor will exit from the wait cycle and resume the operation. So what we do, we just by supplying the referred information from cache to the processor, we cheat the processor, and in this way we can save some of the cycle that may be elapsed due to the wait. So this, and now how we do this, for that we will discuss how what is, but you just see we generate address. Now see here, the processor, during execution of the program, processor does the manipulation of information. It refers the information, perform the operation, and then it may be possible that it may route the result to the back to the memory. So if suppose certain information is get modified by the processor, so it will we have make an arrangement that processor will generate an address. Address is selected, then data is get recorded at that address. Okay. Same case as in the case of read operation. So it will record in cache memory. If data is recorded in cache memory, and we have told you that it in previous property, inclusion property, the content of cache is the subset of main content of the main memory. But here we have some modified data. This modification leads to inconsistency of the data in the memory hierarchy, and this is called coherence. Okay. So to address this, again we have several methods how we update the information, that we'll discuss. Okay. Now next, okay, how we address these two, this coherence. To address, we have two techniques. One is write through and another is write back. Write through means when the information is going to be modified in lower level, that is level 1 by the processor. Simultaneously, it will modify the information in upper levels like L2, L3, and so on. This type of, then again you will remove the inconsistency of data, but that will hamper the performance because you are writing the information in main memory as well as if it is part residing anywhere else in upper levels. So that will hamper the speed performance of the processor. So what we can do, we can make an strategy that is we will do the local modification, but when we don't need that block and we have to replace that very portion of the main cache memory by another active portion of the main memory, then we rewrite the modified information, update the information in main memory. Okay, this is called write back technique. Actually, for implementation, we divide the main memory into smaller blocks and we transfer a block into cache memory, and processor will refer the information and do the modification. When this block is to be transferred back to the main memory, then it is going to be modified. Otherwise, your processor will do the modification on this block only, block of the cache memory, block residing in the cache memory. Okay, this technique is called write back technique. Okay, and now again, just see how we keep the active portion of the program. What is the technique to keep the active portion of the program in the cache memory to get the maximum information from cache only to speed up the process. For that, we use a property of program execution that is called locality of references. Locality of references says that if processor generates certain reference of main memory, then next address generated by the processor may be from same area. So suppose a processor generate an address and that address is not in cache, then what we can do, we can transfer the address, entire area of that address to the cache memory. Keeping this thing in mind, that next reference generated by the processor should be available in cache. If reference generated by processor is available in the cache, then that is called hit. If reference available in the cache is not available in the if reference generated by processor is not available in the cache, then that is called miss. Okay, but using this property, locality of references, okay, we transfer the entire information in the form of block to the cache memory. Okay, and we have three type of locality. One is temporal locality, second one is spatial locality, and third one is sequential locality. Actually, sequential locality is a specialized type of spatial locality. What temporal locality says? If a reference is generated at time t, then it may be possible that it again needed at time t plus delta t, as in the case of loops. Okay. Same reference is get generated repeatedly in the case of loops, execution of loop. Second locality is spatial locality. Spatial locality says if at time t processor generate reference m of the main memory. So at t plus delta t, it is possible that it will generate a reference m plus delta m. Okay. So if we keep this delta m, we transfer this delta m back to the in cache memory, so that all the references in delta m generated by the processor must be available in faster memory, and that will improve the efficiency of the program execution. Okay. Sequential locality means next reference generated by the processor will be the next reference in the memory. That is sequential locality. Okay. We use if you follow these locality of references more than 90 and keep updating the cache memory, then more than 90% of the references may be available in cache memory, means in faster memory for execution. Okay. Now see, the block we are referring is nothing but working set. Working set means the active portion of the program that is going to be referred during execution of the program. Okay. So, and we try to keep working set in faster memory using locality of references property of program execution. Okay, we can identify the working set, means processor generate address using the spatial locality, temporal locality or sequential locality. You can identify the working set, and on the basis of that you can transfer the working set into faster memory, and so that the next reference generated by the processor may be available in the faster memory. Okay. Now see, another parameter that is to be considered is hit ratio. Hit ratio means first see where hit. If a processor generate an address for label L1 and that address information is available at L1, then that is called hit. If it generates an address and it is not available at that label, then that is miss. Okay. Hit ratio is hit by hit plus miss. What it means? Hit ratio says the efficiency of the system. Memory hierarchy. Just see. Suppose, as you know, if you have entire program in cache memory, in that case, what will be the hit ratio? And processor generate address, your entire program in the memory. So all the references generated by the processor to execute this very program will be available in this memory. Then hit ratio is 1. But suppose, as you know, we only keep, due to the capacity constraint, this lower level memory has less capacity due to the cost. We keep only active portion of the program. Okay, so it is not possible to keep entire program. So what we do? On the occurrence of miss, we just transfer another working set to the cache memory, and we have to replace one of the working set. Okay. So in practical case, there must be miss. Okay. You just consider two-level memory. See the effect. L1 and L2. In L2, you have the program. Entire program means hit ratio of L2 is 1, and suppose hit ratio of L1 is 0.9. So if your processor generate 100 references, it means 19 references it may retrieve from the cache memory, and for 10 references it has to refer main memory. Only 10 references.
सर ये प्रोसेसर कैसे पता लगता है कितने रेफरेंसेस कैश में देने और कितने रैम में?
हाँ, अभी पता चलेगा ना। ऐसा है, बता रहे हैं तुमको। इस पर आओ। ये कैश मेमोरी है, ये मेन मेमोरी है। ठीक। प्रोसेसर हमेशा जो है वो मेन मेमोरी का एड्रेस जनरेट करता है। मेन मेमोरी का एड्रेस जनरेट करता है तो तुमको इस पर प्रोग्राम एग्जीक्यूट होना शुरू हुआ, तो हमें उस एड्रेस इंफॉर्मेशन को डायरेक्टली रिट्रीव करेंगे, लेकिन लोकेलिटी ऑफ रेफरेंसेस यूज करके उसके पास की इंफॉर्मेशन को हमने क्या किया, यहां ट्रांसफर कर लिया। सपोज इसको रेफर करने में 100 नैनोसेकंड लगे, अब ये यहां से इंफॉर्मेशन 10 नैनोसेकंड में रेफर हो जा रही है, तो बाकी 9 एड्रेसेस जनरेट करेगा उसके बाद प्रोसेसर लोकेलिटी ऑफ रेफरेंसेस के अनुसार, तो वो क्या होगा, वो यही मिल जाएगा। तो एक इंफॉर्मेशन तो 100 नैनोसेकंड लगे, रिमेनिंग के लिए 190 नैनोसेकंड में ये जो है ये 10 इंफॉर्मेशन रेफर कर ले रहा है। ठीक। और वैसे इसमें जो है तुमको 10 इंफॉर्मेशन का ये है, 10 इंफॉर्मेशन का। अब फिर जनरेट करेगा तो फिर जो है मिस अगर करेगा, इसमें नहीं रहेगा, तो वो सपोज करो नेक्स्ट एड्रेस है तो ये फिर उठा के यहाँ रख लेगा। ठीक। तो अभी बैंडविड्थ जो बताई गई थी, अब बैंडविड्थ ऐसी होनी चाहिए कि एक ही मेमोरी साइकिल में इंटायर इंफॉर्मेशन यहाँ चली जाए, अदरवाइज कोई फायदा नहीं होगा। हाँ, तो ये बताया गया था कि बैंडविड्थ ज्यादा होती है लोअर लेवल पे, हाँ? और डेटा यूनिट कम होता है। ये सब जो पहले पैरामीटर्स बताए गए हैं उसको कंसीडर करते रहो। तो ये आ गया। अब फिर वो 10 रेफरेंस जनरेट करेगा, यहाँ अवेलेबल रहेगा। तो अब इसमें 20 रेफरेंसेस जनरेट हुए जिसमें कि 2 मिस अकर हुए। ठीक। ओनली 2 मिस, बाकी सब हिट हैं। 18 हिट। हिट रेशियो देखो क्या हुआ, 18 नंबर ऑफ हिट, हिट प्लस मिस 2 प्लस 18.9 का हिट रेशियो आ गया है। समझ आया कुछ?
यस सर।
चलो अब नेक्स्ट टर्म पढ़ाया जाएगा, अगला क्लास करो। हाँ ठीक।
ओके सर।
अरे